Good morning, students. Welcome to Complex Analysis live lectures. This is our first lecture. In this lecture, we'll quickly see the basic things about complex numbers and their properties. Okay, fine. So, the textbook for this complex analysis is Complex Variables and Applications by James Ward Brown and Churchill. Okay, it is available in our library. You can issue whenever you require. Okay, let's start with basic definition. What is meant by a complex number? Whether anyone know what is meant by complex number? So far, have you seen? Yes or no? If you know, you
Yes,
tell
sir.
it. Can you say it?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
X plus I1.
How it look like? What is complex number?
X plus I1.
X plus iy.
Yep.
Okay, where x and y are what?
Variable.
Real numbers.
Real number.
Real number.
Okay, good. Any other one? This is collection of complex numbers. If you say, what is this I?
Imaginary number.
Imaginary.
Imaginary.
Okay, fine. So we'll start a little different way, and then we come to this one. Okay, so we'll start with. So this is any complex number is a tuple x comma y. Okay, you can denote this by z, where this x and y are two real numbers. Okay, so any complex number is actually an element in the plane xy plane, okay, which is x comma y, right? Then, so this is, if you take all collection of such things, then we say that it is an element in complex plane, and this is a complex number. Okay, so you will have here this one. Okay, this is x-axis, you can call it real axis, and this is y-axis. Okay, now if you see here, this is, if you consider this as x-axis, and any complex number, if you take a real number x, this you can denote it as x comma 0. Okay, because anyway here somewhere it is x comma y, right? Where will be x comma 0? This is x comma 0, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Right.
So this is a real number. So any real number we can plot it in this plane, okay, by simply saying x comma 0. Is this clear? So therefore this real numbers actually is a subset of this complex numbers. If you call it this as a C, okay, then this real numbers sits inside this complex. So any real number we can represent by simply x comma 0 in this tuple form. Is this clear? Yes or no? And if you take 0 comma y, this will be 0 comma y. So you can call it this 0 comma y as purely imaginary number. So you can call it this as purely imaginary number, right? Okay. And now how we can come to this one? Before coming to that, now take two complex numbers, z1, which is, if you call it x1 comma y1, and z2 x2 comma y2. Okay, then given to this two complex numbers, how we can add, say, z1 plus z2? Naturally we can x1 plus x2 and y1 plus y2, right? What about z1 times z2? This one we want to get first one as a real number. So this is x1 x2 minus y1 y2, then x1 y2 plus x2 y1. So we are actually defining given two complex numbers. You can call it here define two operations, this plus and dot. Okay, right? Then with respect to this, you can check many things. So for that, so you take especially this 0 comma 1. Okay, so this denote this 0 comma 1 purely imaginary number by I. Okay, denote this 0 comma 1 by the number called I. Okay, then you can see how we can write this z is equal to x plus iy. Okay, then this, if you take x comma y, this we can write as using this addition x comma 0 x comma 0 plus 0 comma y. Is this clear? Yes or no?
Yes.
Huh. And
Yes.
see, our idea is we are trying to get, this is a real number, so there is no problem. This you can simply write as x. Okay, so x comma 0 plus, but this is not a real number, it is a imaginary number. Somehow we have to write this with the help of I in terms of real number. How we can write? Because if we observe 0 comma y, this using the above multiplication, one can check that this you can write as 0 comma 1 into y comma 0. Can you check this product is same or not? Because 0 into y is 0 minus 0 into 0, then comma 0 into y plus, you will get x1 y2 and x2 y1. So this multiplication is clear or not? This 0 comma y you can write as 0 comma 1 times y comma 0, and 0 comma 1 we are denoting by I, then we can write this as y comma 0. Okay, so therefore any this x comma y can be written as, because if you write a real number x comma 0 as x, y comma 0 as y, you can write this as x plus iy. Okay, is this clear? This, if you want, you call it as z, any complex number. Now because I is 0 comma 1, in this one you might have said what is I satisfies here, I square value is minus 1, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now
Yes, sir.
whether that satisfies this here or not, you can easily check. I square is I into I, okay, which is 0 comma 1 0 comma 1, and multiplication of two complex numbers we have defined here. Okay, you can check that x1 x2 minus y1 y2, so that is 0 minus 0 minus 1, which is minus 1 comma, then 0 into 1 plus 1 into 0, which is 0. So minus 1 comma 0, which is a real number or not? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So therefore this expression z is equal to x plus iy, if we write and denote I as 0 comma 1, then I square satisfies minus 1 condition. Is this clear? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So we have represented
Yes, sir.
complex numbers. Okay, z is equal to x comma y, that also we can write as x plus iy. Okay, where I is a purely imaginary number such that I square value is minus. Yes or no? And this x is called,
Yes, sir.
x is called real part of this z, which we also denote by
Complex number.
real part of z, and y is imaginary part of z, that we can denote by im z. Okay, right? So you, if you want, you can write in this way. And so any complex number, you start with tuples. Okay, then you define addition and multiplication, and any x you denote by x comma 0, which is a real number, and I an purely imaginary number 0 comma 1. With respect to that, you can write any complex number of the form x plus iy. Is it clear so far? Any difficulty? So if you write in this notation, say suppose x1 plus z1 is x1 plus I times y1, okay, then x2 with z2 which is x2 plus I times y2 by addition, which is same as x1 plus x2 comma y1 plus y2. So if you write that in the form of this notation, which is same as what, x1 plus I x2 plus I times y1 plus y2. Is this clear? Similarly,
Yes, sir.
x1 plus I
Yes, sir.
times y1
Yes, sir.
into
Yes, sir.
x2 plus I times y2. This is same as, we got a tuple here, so we can write this as x1 x2 minus y1 y2 plus I times x1 y2 plus x2 y1. x1 x2 minus y1 y2, okay, plus I times x1 y2 plus x2 y1. Now what you can observe from here is that if you straight away multiply by considering as real numbers, see for example, just multiply this x1 into x2, then x1 I into y2, here I into y1 x2, so that I you can take common, and when you multiply these two terms, this one and this one, I square y1 y2 we will get, but using I square is equal to minus 1, you will get this expression. Is this clear? Yes or no? So it is just like
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
multiplying naturally
सर
like two real
स्क्रीन
numbers.
क्लियर नहीं दिख रही
Sorry,
Sir, screen.
you don't know? X by x square plus y square. This is minus y upon x square plus y square. Is that clear? Any problem?
Yes, sir.
यस सर
If
Yes,
not,
sir.
just take this and solve this as exercise. Okay. Simply
Okay,
multiply these two and equate, because we said when these two complex numbers are equal, whatever you are getting imaginary part here, that should be equal to imaginary part. Whatever real part you are getting, it should be equal to real part. Equate and solve. You will get this u and v. Okay. Right. So for every, so if z which is equal to x plus iy not equal to 0, then what is z inverse? Huh? X upon x square plus y square plus I times minus y upon x square plus y square. Okay. Any problem? Now we will go to another one. So if you know multiplication and all, you can easily check that by using this inverse and all. If z1 times z2 is equal to 0, then what can you say about either z1 or z2? If product of two complex numbers
Either Z1
is,
equal to 0,
or z2 should be
either
equal to,
Z1 or Z2 is 0.
yes, then either z1 is 0 or z2 is 0. How one can prove? See, suppose z1 is non-zero, then you have to prove that z2 is 0. Because z1 is non-zero, what we know about, just now we have seen, z inverse exists, yes or no?
Yes.
Such that
Yes.
z times
Yes, sir.
z times
Yes, sir.
z inverse is equal to 1. Okay. So here, suppose z1 is non-zero, so inverse exists for z1, so z1 inverse exists, then you multiply this to 0, you will get this. Okay, because 0 times any complex number is 0. Okay, but by using associative property, you can write this as z1 inverse into z1, then z2 which is equal to 0. But what is z1 inverse times z1 is 1. Okay, and 1 times z2 is z2, so you get that z2 is equal to 0. Okay, so if product of two complex numbers is 0, then at least one of them should be 0.
0.
Any problem? Now we'll go to the vector representation of complex number. We have seen the rectangular representation or that polar this coordinate representation, right? Now we'll see the vector representation. Vector representation of Z, okay, which is complex number. So we already, the way we have started, it is easy to represent. Okay, how? See, suppose this is x-axis and the other one is okay. Then just let me write clearly. Now you take Z, how you can represent here as a vector representation. If this is x comma y or x plus iy, you can write this as x comma y, and it is a vector joining origin and this Z. Okay, so you can join, and this is your Z, which is x comma y, right? So vector representation means
Yes, sir.
you join from origin to that point, then that we can say that it is the vector representation. Now with respect to this vector representation, how we can have addition of any two complex numbers, we can easily represent. Okay, how we'll see that. So for this, you take two complex numbers Z1 and Z2. Now with this modulus, we have an interesting result which we already know, which is called triangle inequality. Sorry. What is triangle inequality?
Sum of the two sides of triangles is always greater than third side.
Okay, so it is just like mod Z1 plus Z2. If you take, this is less than or equal to mod Z1 plus mod Z2,
Mod Z.
right? One can prove it easily. Take Z1 is equal to x1 plus iy1, Z2 is equal to x2 plus iy2, and so on. But geometrically, can you see that from this picture? We have already drawn that picture, right? We have already drawn that picture. I can draw again one more time. My handwriting is not so good. So this is Z1 and the other one is, say, suppose Z2. Okay. Then what is our Z1 plus Z2? This much you add, and here this much we add. Okay. So we have to extrapolate. Right. So what is this one? This is our Z1 and this is our Z2. Of course, this is also same as Z2 and this is same as Z1. Is this clear? Then what is
Yes.
our Z1,
Yes, sir.
Z2? Our Z1, Z2 is this vector. This is our Z1 plus Z2. Right? Now tell me
Yes,
why and what is mod Z1 plus Z2? Mod Z1 plus Z2 means length of this one. That means whatever we are having here, this is mod Z1 plus Z2. Right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And this is
Yes,
mod
sir.
Z1.
Yes, sir.
This is mod Z1 and this is mod Z2, right? So what somebody said, in triangle, the length of any side is less than or equal to sum of other two sides, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So if you take this triangle above one or below one, it doesn't matter, right? So whether you take this much part, this is Z1 mod Z1 plus Z2, this is mod Z1 and this is mod Z2. Is this clear? So if you take this triangle, then mod Z1 plus Z2 is less than or equal to sum of lengths of other two sides, it is mod Z1 plus Z2. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now we can also have one using this triangle inequality, which is mod Z1 plus Z2 greater than or equal to something. That is mod Z1 minus mod Z2. Okay. If you want this, you take it as exercise. How you will do it? What is the hint? Simply show that mod Z1 plus Z2 is greater than or equal to Z1 minus Z2, and one more time minus of that. So for this, suppose I'll write like this. You can write this as Z1 plus Z2, then minus Z2. Yes or no? Then apply
Yes, sir.
triangle inequality and you will get something. And you bring it that Z1 this side. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Then
sir.
replace wherever Z1 is there, replace the role of Z1 with Z2 and you will see this one. Yes or no? It is very easy.
Yes, sir.
One can see that.
Yes, sir.
What we have proved is that Z1 plus Z2, this value is less than or equal to mod Z1 plus mod Z2 and bigger than or equal to modulus of mod Z1 minus Z2. So we can give upper as well as lower bounds for this mod Z1 plus Z2. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now we will come to the another one, which is called complex conjugation. See, all are basic things, we are going through it. If you have any difficulty, you can again ask. Complex conjugate. Okay. So if you take any complex number Z, which you write as x plus iy, then what is meant by complex conjugate? Can somebody tell?
X minus Y.
Huh?
Opposite.
Minus I1.
Z bar. You can denote that by Z bar
X minus I1.
x minus iy,
I1.
which is actually reflection, because if you draw these things, if you draw this, suppose I'll write here, this is x plus iy, which is z. Okay. Then z bar, which is x minus iy, where it will be? The coordinate of x, which is same, minus iy. That means it is in fourth quadrant. Is this clear?
Yes,
or no?
sir.
So you can see that
Yes,
this
sir.
is nothing but, it is nothing but reflection along this x-axis, right? So z bar is nothing but, this is nothing but, so z bar is nothing but reflection of z along x-axis. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Now what you can
Yes, sir.
observe is what is the distance. This is mod z, right? And this is mod z bar. Okay, so what you observe? Mod z, we know it is same as square root of x square plus y square. And mod z bar, this is nothing but what?
Root X square minus Y
Under
square.
root x square plus y square.
It is same. Is this clear? No? So if you call it length is same. Yes or no? So modulus of z is same as modulus of z bar. Right? And not only that, you take suppose z1 and z2, then you add them and you take conjugate is same as, you take conjugate of z1 and conjugate of z2, then you add them. It is easy to check. And product also, you take z1 and z2, then take conjugate is same as z1 bar and z2 bar. Okay, these are all the basic properties. One can easily verify these things. Okay, any problem?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, nothing, sir. No.
And you can also, you also have this z is x plus iy, z bar is x minus iy. If you write this, you will get 2x. which is z plus z bar, right? So x is z plus z bar by 2. So therefore real part of z, which is x, you can write as z plus z bar by 2, and imaginary part of z, which is y, that you can write as z minus z bar by 2i. Is that clear? These are all the basic things, and you don't need to spend much time on this. Now another relation is, if you see z times z bar, this z times z bar is x plus iy into x minus iy, which is nothing but x square plus y square, multiplication. Yes, but this is same as this absolute value of mod z square, right? Yes or no? This is same as mod z square, right? So therefore what we have here is mod z square, you can write as z times z bar. Okay, using this you can simplify any z1 upon z2 by multiplying by conjugate in numerator and denominator, which you might have seen already. Simply multiply, divide by this z2 bar. Okay, so what is this? Numerator is same as z1 z2 bar, and numerator is nothing but z2 bar square. Is that clear? We know that this is a real number. Okay, so you will get easily, you can simplify this, right? Oh. Now we go to so what we have seen so far is rectangular representation or vector representation, and this conjugate and absolute, that modulus of any complex number. Okay, so now we will define what is meant by exponential form of any complex number z. Okay, how we can write exponential form, which involves angle and magnitude, right? Yeah. So if you take, suppose take a point z, this, suppose I will call it, this is z, which is x plus iy. Okay, and you can represent this as a vector if you want. Okay, now how we can represent the in terms of exponential form? That means if you write here, so this is, if you call it, this is theta, right? And what is this mod z, which if we call it as r? Are you there? Huh? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So now
Yes, sir.
what is exponential form? That means in terms of r and theta, how we can write? This is x. What is this value? This is x and this is y. So how you can write x involving theta? Trigonometric.
R cos theta.
Very good.
R
X
cos
is
theta.
equal to r times cos theta, and y is equal to r times sin.
R sin theta.
Is that clear? So this is
Yes,
r cos theta, and this is r sin theta. Okay, so therefore if you substitute, therefore z, which is x plus iy, which is nothing but r, you can take both common, so cos theta plus I times sin theta. This also you can represent r into e power I theta. Is this clear? So therefore polar form
Yes, sir.
of z is equal to r into e power I theta, where you require z should be non-zero. Why z should be non-zero complex number? Why we require that z should be non-zero for when we talk about exponential form or polar form, whatever you can call it, this as a polar form also. Okay, yeah. So if your z is 0, that means if this is your point here, then you cannot define theta. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
So because if you have some angle should be there, this theta, right? So if this point is already your z, then you cannot have this theta. Theta is undefined. Are you following? Okay, so for that you
Yes.
require that z should be non-zero, right? Now in this z, where r is, we know it is modulus of z, okay? And what can we, how we can find this theta? Theta is making angle with respect to that vector z, right, from this positive x-axis. Is that clear? So if you see,
Yes,
this
sir.
is your theta. Okay. Now this is your theta. We can have infinitely many values of theta. Why? Because instead of going here, I can go in this way and come back and finish this round. Then I can come here. Is this clear? Okay. So you just go through one round, and whatever is there after that, if you do it, that is also theta. So you will have infinitely many values of this theta. Okay, and theta, how you can calculate? Using, so you can write, so where this theta r is nothing but modulus of z, which is square root of x square plus y square, and theta, this theta,
Tan inverse y by x.
yes, theta is nothing but tan inverse y by x. Okay, so obviously this theta, there will be infinitely values for this theta, not just one. If theta is there, then any multiple of theta is also, so this theta you can call it, this theta is called argument of z. Okay, and if one theta is an argument of z, then also this theta plus any 2n pi, where n belongs to z, okay, is also an argument of z. Is that clear why theta plus 2n pi is also an argument? Just going,
sir.
completing the circle, where you started, you are there only again. Are you following? See, suppose you start from here, this much you want to calculate, okay, but I'll go here and come back to this one. That means I have rotated 2 pi. Then I am measuring this, which is same as that one. Are you following? Right? When minus will come, if you go in reverse direction, then minus will come. Okay, fine. Now if you take all this collection, then that is called argument of z. Okay, so all such values, if you call it, so the AR of z, you can call it, this one is nothing but this theta plus 2n pi, okay, where n is any integer. Okay, but there is something called a unique value. We know that this theta is not unique, or whatever this argument of z, this small arg, it is not unique because it has infinitely many values. So there is something for every complex number, there is one unique thing which is called principal argument. Okay, so this arg is not unique because it has infinitely many values. Okay, whereas we have something called principal argument, that we will denote by capital arg of z. Okay, this is also one of these values, but it is unique and it is in between. So this is a value, or one of theta. So this is nothing but one of theta, such that which lies between minus pi, okay, to pi. It can be equal to pi, but it is not equal to minus pi. It is strictly bigger than minus pi and less than or equal to pi. Is this clear? So whatever arguments we are having, one of the argument is called principal argument, which is unique, and that value is between minus pi and pi. That value is between minus pi and pi. Okay. In next class, we'll see how we can calculate this principal argument. Okay, for different, suppose something is in first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, or fourth quadrant. Okay, and it is easy once you understand the concept. You don't need to by heart that problem. Many people have confusion to find out, especially this argument of z. Okay, when it is in first quadrant, second, third, or fourth, no problem. Wherever it is, if we understood and just keep in mind that it is always between minus pi and pi, then one can do it with the help of this, using this 2n pi's. Okay, it is one of these arguments. Instead of theta, if you want to write this, if you want to write this as sorry, we can write here, this is the one of the value of argument of z. Okay, such that which satisfies this condition, and it is unique. So this is unique now. So this whatever value we are having here, this, so this capital ERGZ is unique, whereas small ARG has infinitely many values. Okay, so we'll stop here. In next class, we'll see how we can calculate this value, and we'll see further basic properties of complex numbers. Okay.
Okay, sir.